Hello everyone, my name's Ross and this is a tutorial for the Amazing Spider-Man 2 title that goes at the end of the Amazing Spider-Man trailer. I'll put a link in the description so you can check that out and see how that is. And just to let you know, I actually haven't even had a go at this. I just thought, I think I could do it and I'm going to try and record it so I don't have to do it twice. So yeah, I took a screenshot of the actual thing. I'm just going to drag that in here really quick so we can take a look at it. It's pretty simple. As you can see, it's just background, a couple of yellow colours, and the actual spider in the title. And obviously the webs. There's nothing really special about it. First thing I'm going to do though is add the black bars, just so I know exactly what I'm working inside of. So new layer, new solid. It's going to be a black solid. I'll just put aspect bars, and then I'm going to go and turn on the title action safe. I'm going to just do it to these two lines here, just because that'll make sure it's even, and I don't want to do it off a screenshot I took off YouTube, because it's not going to be perfect that way. So I'll do it this way, to there and to there. Bring the opacity all the way back up and subtract on the mask. That looks about right. Get rid of the action safe so we can see. Yeah, that looks okay, I think. That's not too bad. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to add the background, which it looks to me like a grey blue background. So I'm going to lay a new solid. It probably has a little bit more texture, but the vignette will actually help that out a little bit and give it a bit more texture. So I'll go to blue. That looks about right. Maybe a little. We can always colour correct it a little bit after, so we'll go with that one. And we'll bring the aspect bars to the top. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a vignette now. I'm going to just rename this solid to be the background. I think I'm just going to use Vignette plugin by Creative Impatience, which is, I believe, a free plugin. So there'll be a link to that. Okay, I forgot I actually had this, so oops, that's a little bit too much. Okay, I think that's enough working on the background for now. We can always add a little bit more texture to it later, but I mean, it is just going to basically be the background. In fact, no, I'll do the layer. Okay. So I actually found a Spider-Man logo on the internet, but when I bring it in, you can tell that it's really not that similar, because the real one, the movie version, is very tight at the top and then very long. So I just I took this one and I just modified it a little bit. I created my own version, which I will leave a link to in the description so you can download it if you want to get this one. It's by no means perfect. It was a very quick mock-up of just something similar. So I'm going to add that in, make sure it's about the same size. So we're actually not going to use this for as it is though. We're going to use Element 3D to make it a little bit, to give it a bit more sort of feeling of depth and texture to it. So I'll just leave that there for now, and I'll go Command Y, that's new solid, Element 3D, call it element, and then get element out of the effects and presets. My computer is very slow, so okay. So what you want, I'm just going to quickly turn this to preview on the render mode so it runs a little bit quicker. You want to grab the spider layer, and you want to go layer, auto trace the alpha, and now you see that gets masks for it just does a mask for the entire thing. Obviously we want to delete the outside mask because we don't need that one, and now we can just eyeball that off, just drop it to the bottom so we don't do anything to it by accident, and then we go custom layers, custom texts and masks, and then just select spider. Okay. Now if you go into element, you go into scene setup and hit extrude. Now look what we've got. A Spidey logo that's really not going where I want it to go. So you can see it properly. Okay, right, this is really frustrating. Okay, look at that. It's a little bit thick, so maybe if we go to the bevel, we can just extrude it by 0.75 maybe, so it's a little bit thinner. And we're not going to worry about texture in it just yet. We're going to bring it into the scene first of all. Now as you can see, it's humongous, so we're going to go to group 1, create group null, create. Now that just, it automatically makes a null that is 3D and is in the exact same place as the model, and you can actually adjust the null and control the object, you know, simultaneously. So you want to just bring it back in Z space. Let's make a new camera, and let's put that in. That's fine like it is. So now, but okay, so minus 90 degrees, and we'll scale it down a little bit. That's about right. We can move it down a little bit. So as you can tell, it's really not a perfect representation of the real one, but I think it works for what it is. You could always go into yourself and add this second body part there and just move the legs a little bit. You can always do that. It's easy enough. I just did a very quick one. So yeah, that looks like it's about in position, and turn off this screenshot so we can see it like what we've actually got so far. Now I am just gonna worry about actually texturizing, I don't know, texturing that layer, turn that off. We're gonna go ahead and make some spider webs. So you're gonna go layer, new, solid, webs. Okay, so I'm gonna do this in 3D stroke, which is a trapcode product by Red Giant. So basically what that means you can do is, I'm just gonna solo this just so it's easier to see what we're actually working with. So you can actually use masks to create lines and alter them and stuff, and you've got a load of different things you can actually use them for. So it's G to bring up the pen tool, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to solo the screenshot I took and actually just trace out some of the there is a lot, but I'm going to take some of the better ones and just oops, make sure you've got your actual layer selected and just trace some of them out. So I don't know, like, I mean, you just got to take every tutorial anyone does really, as it's probably not the best way to do it, it's just the way they did it or the way they thought about doing it. So that's, yeah, you just really need to remember that, because if I tell you that I'm doing something a certain way, you should not just think that that's the best way, because it very rarely will be. Oops. Because I mean, even professionals don't do it probably the most effective way, and they're always learning, just like we all are. So in the actual trailer, when the camera pans closer to the logo, the webs actually parallax against the further ones that are further back. But you don't have to do them all individually, because it really is pointless, because you can just do like maybe 2 or 3 layers of webs and just have and have that parallax there still. So now we see what we've got. That looks ridiculous and very cartoony. I think I would probably have this at 0.9 maybe thickness. Now you can see that, I mean, I don't know if you can tell as well as I can, but it's very gappy. If I zoom in, yeah, they're full. That's not how it will actually look. I'm also going to add a roughen edges, because the way that cobwebs look, you see like the tiny little bits where the cobwebs are glistening. Like if I show you if I turn this screenshot back on. In fact, in this screenshot, they are actually very, very solid. But I looked at some things on the internet, and they were very, or you could really, like, they were very, very thin, and then just little tiny bits where they were a little bit more visible because the light was like bouncing off the rough, sort of the bumps and stuff. So, okay. Take the border down to 1. I really want to take the scale down of the roughen edges, just so it's a little bit. I might even take it down to 25. Okay. And I think I'll add a fast blur, just maybe like 1 pixel, just to soften them a little bit. 2. That looks kind of cool. Yeah, I think that looks okay. And I might just add a glow, just to get a little, just as if the bumps are sort of reflecting little, I don't know, bits of light. Okay, so that, probably bring this down to 20-ish. And I'm also going to change the colour of the webs to a very greyish colour, because they shouldn't be really white. So change them to a grey, and then that looks kind of cool. And then I'm going to add them as a screen, transfer mode, unsolo that. That looks okay. I'm kind of happy with that. Okay, I'm just going to delete these bars and add them in again at the end. Honestly. Okay, that looks terrible. I'm just going to darken up the background a little bit. Okay. So yeah, that looks okay. Maybe the glow's a little bit strong for now. I also realised that I've done half of some of the webs, so the other halves of them are going to parallax against them, but that's okay. You can figure that out. Okay, so bring the spider back out, and we're also going to add the text in now. So, because I'm also going to use element for the text, so I'm just going to rename element spider, just so I know which element that actually is, and I'm going to go new text, which is that button there, and click it. I downloaded a font called Megahertz. There'll be a link to that in the description. That was the closest I could find on the internet for free. That is like the Amazing Spider-Man logo, title font. So I'm just going to use that one, yeah, and that's, like I said, there'll be a link in the description. Okay, so the Amazing, and I'm going to drag that over in front of there. Yeah, up there. And I'm going to do down all here. I'm going to write Spider Dash Man, but I'm going to make this one very much bigger because it is. But that's okay. I think that's fine. That's really fine enough. So now what we want to do is I'm going to actually. I'm going to use the text not as the text either. I'm actually going to use it as a file for element. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to texture the spider for element. I mean, I should really do another web, but I might just duplicate it and then rotate it. So yeah, that'll do. Obviously, you'd work a little bit harder on the webs if you were doing this for the actual film, which you shouldn't need to do because it's already been done. But anyway, okay. So now we'll go into element. I forgot about doing the second portion of the webs, but I also need to push the second ones a little bit backwards in Z space, so see they actually will give a parallax as well. But yeah, I'll do that later. Okay, so go into element and referring to the screenshot I took, the spider is silver on the front and red on the sides, which outside glow might do quite well. Obviously if we change that from blue and black, which you should be able to do in this section. So if we change the black to a grey colour, no, that probably won't work actually. I think it'll probably be better to use a silver. Let's use a metal from the Pro Shaders, and I'll just use Metal Grunge. That's probably my favourite one. It's the most useful one by far. And that's easy enough. Let's go. But let's just go ahead and add a light and see how it looks. Light. Make it a red colour. I'm gonna just copy the position of the group null and paste it actually to the light. That way it should be easier. There you go. We can actually see a bit of a red edge underneath. Only in the reference photo, the red is more on the top legs. Could even just duplicate it. Gives you a little bit more of a red colour there. Okay, yeah, that's fine. It really isn't the same. It's a very deep red colour, which I reckon I could probably just figure out if I wanted to duplicate it, put on a red texture, and or even maybe use a bevel for it. Honestly, in fact, okay. Let's go a little bit crazy, and let's see if we can do a bevel. Okay, let's just use a preset bevel, and then I'll actually alter that one. Okay, there we go. So now what we can basically do is we can just take that one and replace it with Pro Shaders, the metal that we did use. So Metal Grunge, let's do that. So we drag that onto there. So now we've got that, and now we can change paint or plane or any of these really. Let's go with plain. We'll just change it to red in this section. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, so that's the way you can do it. I'll leave it how it is for now. And next thing, we're going to make a new element layer. New solid element text, and then we're going to go effects and presets, element, bring it onto there. I'm going to bring that down to preview again, and we're going to go custom layers, custom texts and masks, new one, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There we go. And scene setup, and extrude, and oops, and that's what we've got. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That looks fine extrusion wise. I imagine it's probably a similar what am I talking about? A similar texture to the spider, but I don't know. So let's figure out. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to group 1 and we're going to go create group null, create. So now I've got 2 group 1 nulls, which can get confusing, so keep them together. If you keep the element and the groups together, like right next to each other, then it shouldn't be too much of a problem for you. And there we go. So now, obviously what you can tell is the Spider-Man has been, because it's very much ahead of the light, we're seeing the dark side of it. So we need to do a new light layer, new light, and we're not going to have this one red, we're just going to have it as a white light, or maybe like a yellowy, sort of a pale yellow light. I'm going to have the intensity at 100. Okay, so let's texture the text. In fact, just let's have a look at the oh god, let's have a look at the screenshot I took, just so we know. Yes, it's a silvery color. It's just it's not as metallic as the other one. Well, maybe that one. Okay, let's use that one then. So that's pretty cool. And then we're actually going to just turn the text off as well, because that's making it look a little bit weird. So turn off the Amazing Spider-Man text. Yeah, that looks a little bit better now. Okay, the background still looks terrible, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Finder. And Andrew Kramer gave away a ton of HD paper for his typewriter thing. And if we can just get one of these, it's just give it a little bit more of a texture to it. To the background, I mean, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this at the back, and then have the background that we've got actually overlay onto this layer, so it just gives it a little bit more texture, and that's what I think I'm going to do. It's a huge files these are. Okay, so I'll bring that all the way down to the back, back there. And I'm going to go onto the background and yeah, just do it as I think an overlay would work. Very much not. I was very wrong. Maybe like multiply. Okay, I mean that's a little bit darker, so if we just change the layer a little bit to a lighter blue, it might do a better job. So go solid settings. And then yeah, just make it. In my opinion, that looks really cool. Let's go a little bit darker though. Yeah, like that. That looks really cool, in my opinion. So yeah, I actually think that really looks cool. It's not. I mean, it's not perfect. I could probably add a hue and saturation to this, and just bring the saturation down a little bit. That looks kind of cool. I might have to actually take some of the glow down off the webs though. So yeah, right, what's next? If you actually notice the bottom half of the legs of the spider in the actual main image, they're very faded out almost. Like they begin to fade out right where the Amazing Spider-Man begins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go layer, new, solid, black solid. And we're going to use a track matte to just get rid of those legs and add a feather. And then we're going to bring this above the element spider. And you're going to go on element spider, track matte, alpha matte, alpha inverted matte, sorry, and that just begins to fade the legs out a little bit more, and then you can then use that. You can start messing with the feather, maybe make it a little bit less, so make it 400. No, that's not really 500. Bring it up a little bit, and then add even more feather, just so they begin to go a little bit invisible. And I'm going to darken the vignette a little bit up on the background, because I believe that should be a little bit darker. That'll do. I think what's going to help it a little bit more is the yellow solids. The webs, I imagine they were done 3D. They look really good. I personally can't replicate them as well as they've been done. So what I've done, unfortunately, is going to have to be enough. I can probably find something on the net of how to do some good ones, or something like that. But for this, I'm just going to roll with what I know, and hopefully that's okay. So I'm going to turn off the screenshot again. I'm going to bring this below element, below both the elements. Oops, not below there. Okay. Then I'm going to use the ellipse tool. There is a very orange circle right below the body of the spider, so I'm going to add that in. And it's not really in the right place quite, so yeah. And I'm going to feather that a ton. Okay, and then there's also one behind where the legs sort of kick in, like as if it's the spider's ankles. Okay, so now we need to go to the second web file, and we're going to go into the 3D strokes section and Z position. We're going to pull it back a little bit, so that's fine. I'm actually going to duplicate the same one, just duplicate it again. Yeah, I think that looks okay. Okay, so yeah, that looks cool. And find the camera, and I'm going to position. I'm going to keyframe the position where we are now to be the end, and I'm going to bring the camera back a little bit. 2,800. So that's literally just zooms in a little bit over the course of the 5 seconds. For trailers, the titles are normally very quick, so I'm going to bring it down to 3 seconds. I'm going to take that keyframe and just going to change that to an easy ease, so it's as the camera approaches the logos, it slows down a little bit. Oh, I also realised that we have to go into the webs and go to camera, and this is going to change everything, and just click comp camera. Look how everything's disappearing. I should have done this at the start, but I just didn't even think about it. But yeah. So that's why they weren't parallaxing at all. Now, obviously, what I forgot, you really should do like more, a better job with the webs, doing different patterns and stuff, just because I forgot that when you do use the comp camera, it disregards any of the properties that are on the layers rotation and whatever in scale. So it looks like I've just got 3 of the exact same thing pretty much, and then just brought them back in Z space. And I'm going to add the bars in a second. I imagine there's probably some lens flares going on as the animation plays out, but I'm not doing them because this is long enough. And it just gives you the basic idea, and you can play with it. If anything, I also want to add a curves adjustment to the element layers, adjust the vignette a little bit more. So yeah, I'm just gonna add the black bars back in. Yeah, that looks okay. I mean, I'd probably darken up the background. In fact, let's add in in fact, let's do this. No, this is just a tutorial. I'm such a bloody perfectionist. Let's just add a curves to an adjustment layer. That way I could darken up the background a little bit. Yeah, that looks okay. That really, I'm happy with that. And then I'm gonna go layer, new, solid, and this is just gonna be a fade layer, so I'm just gonna fade this in and out. Yeah, that looks okay. Yeah, I'm just going to render that out as it is, and yeah, I think that's fine. So thank you for watching. I'm just going to add this to the render queue, but you all know how to do that. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I don't know if I'm going to put this the actual bit of it on the main trailer or not, on my main channel. It's probably just going to actually go on my second channel if I even upload it as a solo thing. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thank you very, very much for watching. I really did hope you'd learn something from this. Hopefully it gives you a bit of an insight on maybe Element or any of the other programs I used. There'll probably be a list of the stuff I used in the. I just noticed how uniform half the webs are. Oh, I didn't turn the element layers from preview to thingy because I don't know, I've just been a little bit preoccupied. Anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. Please leave any comments. Let me know. If there's any tutorials you want, even if it's not an effect I've done, even if it's just something that I have, I don't know, even if it's just something you want to know, let me know in the comments, or tweet me at Ross Arnoldsan, just my YouTube name, at Ross Arnoldsan. Yeah, okay, thank you very much for watching, guys.